on your breath, a hydrogen goes through your head. Still the kid that doesn't like.
Hey there YouTube, it's Kurt here, and today I'm going to give you a quick lesson on how to make your songwriting more funky, or more groovy, or even more jazzy. Now this lesson I think is transferable to pretty much any style of music. In order to make your music more interesting, a big part of that is taking your chords and your chord progressions and just making them more interesting. How you phrase those chords is going to be very important to how interesting and unique your music sounds. And to focus on funk, I'm focusing on the clean sound, and I'm going to give you an example. So my first example is I'm going to play the D, and I'm going to play the D minor. So one chord you hear a lot in funk writing in general, you hear the 7. So I'm going to play you a D7 minor. Now, you can probably hear the difference. Here's the D minor, the D7 minor. See, that note makes a big difference in how much it stands out. But on top of that, what you're going to do on top of that, you're going to create your own variations of that chord. And there's many different types of names for each, pretty much every chord you can think of, or any chord that you can seek out to create on your own. But that's part of the process. Creating it on your own will be able to, it will expand your creativity. And that will expand your overall songwriting capabilities. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to move it up, since it's no longer on the G string, I'm going to move it up to the E string, and I'm going to play the second and third frets, and I'm going to take it to the B string. And what you're going to find is that those notes really stand out, and they give it sort of its own imprint on the song. And that's very important when you're doing the songwriting, of course. So here's the D minor to the D7 to the variants. Now the way I played them in sequence, parts of it sounded good, but you can see the various sounds that you can get out of it, and they can all sound great in the right context. Now other thing I want to say is, like, when you're writing your music, you don't necessarily want to always adhere to a set-in-stone musical theory. Now what I mean by that is, like, some of the best songs out there, they make progressions that are very unusual, and you almost can't really classify them in a specific sort of key. So, an example, a lot of Nirvana songs are that way. They don't play full chords, though they play the power chords. So a lot of their music sounds really unique when you actually end up playing them in full chords, because they're very unusual progressions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make an example. This is just a short writing demonstration. I'm going to take that D minor 7, I'm going to move it up the scale in random points. And it'll create a very interesting sound, at least to me. And I hope it's interesting to you. So as you can see there, the way I moved up the scale, it really does play with how the song, I guess, the overall feeling of the song. And once you get to the point where you can comfortably write, you have a basic understanding of theory. It's not that important if you're going to be on the creative side to necessarily adhere to that structure. You should get to the point where you're able to express yourself and express your feelings in terms of what sounds right in your progressions and what sounds right in your chord variants. And so that's my main point for this lesson today. Hopefully you guys found it interesting. Obviously, I think there's a lot you could write out of those sequences. And really, yeah, that's what you should take away from this lesson. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments section. I'm going to do another short example after this. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out my band. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. So, peace.
A cigarette is on your breath, a hydrogen goes through your head. Still the kid that doesn't like
As you can see there, it's going from an A to an A minor, which makes for a unique sound. But then after that, he plays this sequence. See that note at the end of the string? That really brings out the chord in general, and it brings out the sound. And when you do that, again, the imprint on your music, your own imprint on your music is going to be very important. So that's why part of the reason why their songwriting sounds so wonderful and it sounds so unique. It grabs you in that certain way because it does carry those fine little nuances. So hopefully with that, you guys are able to create a lot of awesome material. And again, I wasn't pulling from any material of my own. In general, this was just basically on the spot kind of writing. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And I really appreciate it, guys. Peace.